Church militant, a fringe group claiming to be Catholic but denounced by the church, broadcasts pro-life, anti-gay, anti-feminist, Islam-fearing content on its website, churchmilitant.com, and through social media using production studios that rival those at local TV news stations. It has 35 full-time employees who publish about 10 stories and 3 videos every weekday. Its leader, Michael Voris, has compared Trump with Constantine, the Roman emperor whom he says was not a moral man but a power-hungry egomaniac, but who saw it desirable to end the persecution of Christians. He was a human vessel who elevated Catholicism to the state religion, Voris said. For this analogy, it's irrelevant whether the man has been married 3 times or owns casinos. The personal proclivities, the personal sins or life of a particular leader is a separate discussion from how that man's view of the world might influence his policies, Voris said. And if that policy is favorable to the church, well then, very good. Many of Church Militant's headlines are similar to those on Breitbart News, the far-right news organization that White House chief strategist Steve Bannon previously ran. Many of Breitbart's articles are cited on the Church Militant website. But unlike Breitbart, Church Militant is under a Christian, 501c3, nonprofit organization. It's not affiliated with the Catholic Church, which has taken action to distance itself from Church Militant, and Voris said he doesn't think his organization's political statements are violating what he calls the stupid restriction on political campaign intervention for tax exemption from the Internal Revenue Service. Church and state have long been linked in this country, he said, and the combination of social media and Trump in the White House have altered the notion of mainstream media. The entire established order has been thrown up into the air, Voris said. What we say now has some credence. We're allowed into the discussion. Among the headline stories on churchmilitant.com Friday were, bombshell priest at forefront of pushing birth control in Canada admits gay lifestyle, dismantling Obama's legacy, and 72 terrorists come to U.S. from 7 banned Muslim-majority countries. The right religion Church Militant's audience includes more than 180,000 Facebook likes, about 30,000 YouTube subscribers and nearly 12,000 Twitter followers. Voris estimates the operation, including social media and the website, accumulates about 1.5 million online views per month. A report the Detroit Free Press ran using similar web analytics, which don't measure social media traffic, estimates the website had a 6-month peak of more than 750,000 visits in October and about 531,000 in December. The organization's global audience is about 10 times bigger than it was 5 years ago, and Voris said the nonprofit's revenue is well past 7 figures but declined to be specific. In 2014, the nonprofit Street Michaels Media that is connected to Church Militant reported total revenue of more than $1.6 million, according to the 990 form it is required by the IRS to submit every year. Voris said the heart of what they do is Catholic theology. They operate as a news source with analysis and commentary. The news is a door into the theology, and premium users receive additional theological content, he said. He also said he thinks Trump's presidency will even the playing field, allowing for his apostolate's influence to spread. The problem with America is America never sat down and had the right discussion about which religion is the right religion, Voris said, adding that Trump is making that discussion possible. Years ago, Voris caused an uproar when he said this in one of his videos: the only way to run a country is by benevolent dictatorship. A Catholic monarch who protects his people from themselves and bestows on them what they need, not necessarily what they want. The Free Press previously reported that he apologized. But Voris this past Monday said he didn't apologize for the principle. He said Americans have been living in a secular dictatorship, and solid moral principles are expressed in Catholicism more perfectly than any other source. When it comes to moral issues, look what Obama threatened. North Carolina said it would not abide by transgender bathrooms, he said, adding that Obama said he'd pull $30 billion of your funding. How is that not a dictatorship? After North Carolina passed a law regarding gay and transgender rights, President Barack Obama's administration considered withholding federal funding. But USA Today reported in May 2016 that the administration decided not to. Instead, it pursued a separate enforcement action in federal court. Reuters reported the state stood to lose $4.8 billion, mostly in education grants. Mark Weitzman, based in New York for the Simon Wiesenthal Center, a Jewish human rights organization, describes church militant as radical traditionalist Catholics. He said such organizations are a small movement with some influence and the ability to make a lot of noise. They espouse beliefs that God's promises to the Jewish people were stripped away and assigned to Christians after the coming of Jesus, resulting in ideas that are theologically not racially anti-Semitic, Weitzman said. Voris said that one doesn't speak in terms of theology, of being anti-religion, and that being anti-Semitic it's a political term. That's supposed to shut down conversation. Voris said he isn't a secret Nazi white supremacist or a white nationalist. When the Free Press asked him about Weitzman, Voris said, "I consider him an extreme leftist Marxist, probably bordering on atheist." Weitzman said that for these groups, religious liberty is a difficult and disquieting concept, that they'll do what they can to chip away at it. And even small chips can hurt a lot of people. It's worth knowing that these people are out there, because any threat to the democratic system is worth paying attention to, Weitzman said. But I wouldn't exaggerate their power, either. They haven't succeeded in reclaiming their own Catholic Church. Catholic Friction Church Militant started as Real Catholic TV in 2008. With airings on local television. The Archdiocese of Detroit issued statements indicating the organization was not authorized to promote itself as Catholic. Real Catholic TV is now off the air, and Church Militant is the name of the online effort. Archdiocese spokesman Ned McGraw sent the Free Press a number of links to blogs and articles depicting the friction between Voris' organization and the Catholic Church. He also sent the transcripts from a video of Voris, with text bolded on the parts where he describes Voris' previous sex life. After a Church Militant subscriber told us that Voris was banned from speaking at Catholic parishes, we asked McGraw about it. "We have a consistent policy in the Archdiocese regarding speakers in church property," McGraw said, adding that presentations must be in the spirit and the law of church teaching. Voris' ministry, his work is not approved or endorsed by the Archdiocese of Detroit, and that would be why. McGraw declined to specify which teachings. But spend much time on churchmilitant.com, and you'll notice a frequency of articles criticizing the Catholic Church. In July 2016, it reported on a Catholic church in Cincinnati hosting a Black Lives Matter meeting, then said multiple chapters of the movement, which campaigns against police brutality and systemic racism against Black people, have supported abortion and LGBT rights. That story with the headline, "Catholic Church to Host Black Lives Matter," was posted under the category Crisis in the Church. Voris told the Free Press that the Catholic Church has gone in the wrong direction since the Second Vatican Council in the early 1960s, adapting to a more progressive world. He said it was diabolical for bishops to move child molesting priests among parishes for years before nationwide sexual child abuse scandals were exposed. "These are clear-minded decisions that were made, and they are evil decisions," he said, "and they don't like us talking about this stuff." Voris blamed the Catholic Church last April when he revealed to his followers that he had lived a gay lifestyle while in his 30s. In a broadcast on Christian Militant, Voris told viewers he had always been upfront about his extremely sinful life prior to his return to the church, but now was giving specifics because he had been told the Archdiocese of New York was collecting and preparing to quietly filter out details of my past life with the aim of publicly discrediting me. "I will now reveal that for most of my years in my 30s, confused about my own sexuality, I lived a life of live-in relationships with homosexual men. From the outside, I lived the lifestyle and contributed to scandal in addition to the sexual sins. On the inside, I was deeply conflicted about all of it. In a large portion of my 20s, I also had frequent sexual liaisons with both adult men and adult women." A search of churchmilitant.com reveals dozens of articles about homosexuality, many with scandals involving Catholic priests, while others tackle it from a moralistic viewpoint, such as is homosexuality an addiction? As for liberalism, Voris may explain his disdain for liberals in the transcript of a broadcast titled, "Trump and the Church Militant." Notice, liberals, evil wishes to dominate the world, that's you guys, and it is necessary to fight against evil, that's us, the Church Militant. Catholics who will no longer